Welcome. Good evening. Welcome to KS Gaming. It's me and Evan. We're here for Christmas.
Hello.
Good evening, everyone. I'm excited. It's Christmas time. I'm not going to be here next week, so we're doing our Christmassy one now. I'm going to be in deepest, darkest Wales next week, where my internet connection will be even worse than usual. So, Flintstones.
Does Wales not deserve broadband?
Not where like my parents are. They're like sort of halfway between Cardiff and Brecon Beacons National Park. So on the side of a mountain, looking up at Penavan. It's lovely to be there, but don't expect to do much uploading. So there's not a lot of point. So that'd be cool. And yeah, so we thought we'd dive in tonight. Start by talking about all this.
We must arrange a couple of Wartable games in between tending sheep or whatever else the Welsh do.
Yeah. I think Water. As long as I'm not streaming, the games might be doable.
Exactly.
And there's not going to be much else.
You should be able to handle voice chat.
Yeah. You say I should be able to. Should be okay. So thanks for joining us, everyone. If you want to support the channel and the show, then feel free to share, like, follow, subscribe. Be the social media gods in every way. I'm joined by my cat tonight. You don't often see her. I don't often see it on the show. But she's been like super
attentive.
Yes, she is. She's lovely.
My cats are much more mercenary. If it's not dinner time, they don't want to know my problems.
She's literally like just perched just in front of my keyboard in an awkward enough position. I've got to like reach over to use it.
That sounds about right.
What are you doing, eh? No, why? She's very attentive today. Never mind. Yeah, she's gorgeous. She's it's one of the very few cats that I'm not allergic to because she's a fancy Bengal, so hypoallergenic.
Right.
Cats. But yeah, so we've had like I think this year's probably been like the most impactful Warmachine since Mark III hit.
It has. I really wish there were more events that were kind of jumping in because it's been, my God, it's been one hell of a year for the game itself.
It's been a different one. Obviously, we've seen all sorts of things change in the world as we know it.
Oh yes.
But yeah, I think there's been like some big changes, obviously, which we'll talk about in a minute. But Warmachine just feels like it's on the upswing to me at the moment.
It really does. And it's taken a while.
Yeah,
it's taken a while for the London meta to kind of start picking up, but I see old Dan Pedrick has put out a Brawl Machine event is to be run in about a month or so.
Yeah.
We've already got 8 players there. I think I haven't signed up yet. I must.
Yeah, and then there's the Warsaw lot, the Warsaw War Masters putting on a team, a three-player team event in February. Oh, no, in January. Like the weekend after my birthday in January. So hopefully, like we're not into a lockdown then, that's going to stop that happening, but hopefully. We'll see.
Oh, so many of those things.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. But like that's just the start of the event season. Really promising. So there's that. We're up here in Sherwood, like land in the north-ish. We've been talking about whether or not we were going to be able to run an event. So our local club runs an event called Sheffield Slaughter for Age of Sigmar every year, which is normally pretty sizable. It's like 120 players. And we've been asked if we, or rather we've asked if there's room to tag on the side. For this one, there should be enough room for 50 player roughly event to go on at the same time, which would just be like in a different hall. The Hilton up on the edge of Sheffield. I think it's like 2 tree or 1 tree between Sheffield and Dronfield. But the plan is we're waiting for confirmation from the venue that we can and exactly how big the room is, because if we fit a bit more than 50, we could go. If we can squeeze up to 64, then we don't need to do any shenanigans with like cutting to top 8 after the first day or something.
Right.
But the plan will be, if they can accommodate it, to do Friday night.
So would this be a 2-dayer?
It would be an entire weekender. So
yes.
So those that watch, so the main event would be Saturday and Sunday. If we don't get the numbers right, like just for like tournament wise, it'll be cut to top 8 after the first day, to make sure we have a clear winner. It's basically the same sort of thing that the Welsh did when they went way big the year. And then if we have the allowance to do so, obviously you can. It's at the Hilton, so you can stay at the hotel at the venue. We're basically just waiting for confirmation of stuff like, can we have the room like all through the evening, so people can do casual gaming afterwards, and we do the same on Friday. Obviously,
that's fantastic.
People that want to come up from down like southwest Wales, Ireland, Scotland, London, it's a long way to come first thing in the morning. So if people are going to come up on the Friday, it'd be nice if we could accommodate people to play. So there's a lot of ifs at the moment and waiting on confirmation from this and that, but we talked to like one of the committee members for the gaming club basically at the moment, and we're just now waiting for answers over Christmas. But that's potentially that'll be in February, end of February, which is cool. And obviously then loads of other things are happening. Welsh Masters is booked in for the new Firestorm Games venue in Cardiff for March. There's the Belgian Masters, I think, which is sold out, which is at the end of February as well. So if you go into that,
okay,
that's okay. But yeah, so there's a good lot of stuff already starting to show on the calendar, and obviously there's the VTC, so that's going ahead. That's in February as well, right?
Yeah, that's Feb as well. It's an exciting February.
Yeah, so I definitely need to check the dates. That'd be really bad.
It's a great. I need to check the dates and actually sort out a bloody travel visa. So yeah.
yeah, you've got to do a little bit more. But yeah, so that's really positive. It's really good that obviously events have started to happen. Some big events happen as well, which is I think like what's your favorite? Obviously, you've been to like you've been up here, you've been down to Brighton. You've been like
most of mine have been right? Brighton. I mean, not that much. I've basically just been up your way by Sheffield, and then there's up your way. Well, it's close enough.
Up yours, what?
Up your way. So up your direction around Sheffield, and then the rest has been done in Brighton, who have been picking up quite nicely.
Yeah.
And the Brighton meta is fantastic. It's a great bunch of guys. They live in sort of like a weird time lock kind of part of the world where somehow the meta of the rest of the Warmachine world doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
It's just the mean old Londoners who kind of come down and infect them with the meta monsters.
With horrible monstrous lists. Yeah. Just turn that to a beginner's event with Aurora 2 and Karchev 2 and
exactly. Yeah. Well, at least I go there as a snowflake. I've been bringing down the twins like three events in a row.
Yeah.
Jan has actually been, just bullying everyone with Grimkin, which has been great to see.
I know the Brighton meta's like always been that way. So I know like a couple of years back when I started playing for the Welsh team, we had Alan Williams, rep player of the past. Used to live down like Crawley way, and he'd say that you'd go to Brighton, and basically you couldn't be prepared for what was at Brighton. It was just
no
whatever.
You have no idea what you're going
is what they would play.
Yeah, you have no idea what to expect because what everyone says is the meta is meaningless. Everyone plays what they enjoy, and they're pretty good at it. So it's always a great time down there. I managed to get the twins murdered by Bokur, by the new Bokur. That was interesting. Bokur managed.
This was just after Faye warned you how
how bad
it was,
but it was still amazing. But I mean, she warned me, but I didn't. You know, sometimes you actually have to see
You've
it
got
on
to
the
see it.
table for
Yeah,
yourself.
same as someone will tell you, like back when Lord of the Feast
He
was a monster.
Bor-
People tell
Walker
you, but
walked
until you've seen
through
it.
35 boxes of a Blightbringer and both the twins on his own.
Did he do the Blightbringer first? It's like, I'm not gonna. You can't transfer to this. I'm just gonna kill it.
Yes, that's exactly what he did.
Jeez,
But
okay.
it turns out at Mat 9 and Power 17 he can do that
Get the job done, Walker.
with 9 Fury. It's like that's not okay.
Trolls. It's so nice. Like I've never played Trolls. Right? They've been the underdog for so long. Like, and it's nice to see them in such a strong
it's
position.
it's hard to begrudge Trolls. It really
Yeah,
is.
it is, right? Yeah.
I mean, I played a lot of Cricks in Mark II, and Trolls were the whipping boy the entirety of Mark II.
Yeah.
Like, Cricks into Trolls was the nastiest matchup you could imagine. Just Cricks preyed on Trolls. It was that simple.
I think I was the opposite. So I played Legion. Legion was the only faction I played in Mark
Legion
II,
didn't like Trolls.
and
Legion suffered into Trolls.
Yeah, we had basically Elemental Evolution, Meat Mountain, and Runes of War. And I think it was Runes of War that you'd see like nearly all the time, and it just stomped on Legion.
It stomped Legion hard.
But ever since then, like they've been such like so below par, and a lot of so many troll players I know, like just doggedly held on, like the trolls, like the Creel Warriors are like we're gonna carry on loving our faction. Even when
this is what we do. This is what we love. We're not giving up.
They're basically like playing out. Cat is coming onto screen slightly. She's gluing herself. But yeah, basically they played out the whole. We're getting beaten daily, but we still love
and trolls. And I got to give troll players credit. You know, they haven't had to have a monthly Christmas present like Circle players to stay in love with their faction.
Yes.
You know, 2 months without a gift from the gods, and Circle players are already looking for the door. But troll players just hang in there.
Yeah, and that's the difference, right? Yeah, so I think that's why people are quite happy to accept that maybe Gunny might be a little bit broken, but it's okay for other people to have nice toys and not nice.
Yes,
have nice toys as well.
Other people can have nice things.
Yeah, except for Circle players. Circle players don't deserve any nice things.
Except for Crix players. Crix players can't have nice things.
And also Crix players, because they have too many years of penance still to pay.
So many years of penance, apparently.
You know, maybe in like the next iteration.
I mean, this is why I keep wanting Mark IV. It's the only way Crix is going to get a fair shake.
Maybe.
Crix cannot get it.
Or you need some prominent.
Even Kharchev 2 came out to wreck the world, and his Crix variant is kind of
we were just talking about this before we went live, that I've been anticipating playing him. I'm probably going to play some games with Kharchev in Khador on Wartable, actually, just to get some.
Yeah, I need to do that to get some reps in, just to practice a bit for our VTC team as well.
Yeah, so I practiced into him this week, the Crix version or a Crix version. I dropped what I'd be basically just playing my Dreadlot list with every caster. So I'm just going through all the Grimkin casters, seeing exactly what I want to be in with the Dreadrot army and where the weakness is. Can I take just Heretic and use Ill Omens to be the thing that lets me deliver them?
Right.
And the answer at the moment is maybe.
I mean, I wouldn't put money on it, but good on you for trying. It's 30 tough models, so
it's a difference.
It's still a lot of work to chew through.
Yes, and there's tough models. Obviously, you quite quickly get the Death Knell bubble up. Wide enough that they become 13, 16 with tough.
And you've got the AoEs from the Archons, so 15 if you're hitting them from close. And I can see it. I don't know if it's where I'd be going, but I can see it.
13 obviously is before you put in any terrain as well, right? So if you've got anything on your side of the table, like if you can give them concealment, if you can give them cover,
You can
Like,
give them walls, that sort of
like
thing.
15 from a cloud suddenly becomes real nice, or
Hmm.
17 if you've got some handy walls or rubbles, and obviously they don't really care about running through rubble because you can just set up
Yeah.
charging through to get
And
to position
obviously,
with
single
ghostly.
wound infantry don't matter because you got wall of fire.
Yeah,
It's interesting.
yeah. So
Um,
I've been trying it,
yeah.
and so I tried it into Crix, and it was my god, how many? Like, it was Erebus, and then Doctor Stygius, a unit of overlords,
Yeah.
a Warwitch Siren, and it
Sounds
was
right.
definitely one other solo. Not sure what it was, and then basically, yeah, Erebus and however many Slayers fit in that list. And Andy's watching, who's a diehard Crix fan. Do you fit in like 8 Slayers and Erebus? Does that sound about right?
If you're
Or
going to spend, yeah, you won't get 8. Actually, it's gotten cheaper. I don't know. You might get
it might
8,
be
or
7. It might be
probably
7 in
7.
Erebus, yeah.
It's probably 7.
Yeah, it went okay. We didn't have time to play out the whole game because I'd already had another game. It was like our local club, so they
Oh,
wanted
right.
to kick us out. Gone 11 by the time we'd finished. Had a couple of
Yeah, sure.
rounds of it, and as I was saying to you, Evan, it's with the heretic list, you can reach out pretty far to drag them into you. So you get if you've left or in range to get some hard Archon blasts out, then suddenly you've got 13-inch gallows, which is reasonable enough because they threaten
I
12.
I definitely think you need to trade out Longfellow for Grave Ghoul.
And yeah, we're
Like,
just
you've
talking
got
about
so
that.
much of that nonsense there.
Yeah,
Like, you want to reroll you want the frog to have a reroll.
yeah,
It's just too good.
yeah. So obviously this is a bit more like of an ideal.
Do you have 2 Witchwoods in there?
I have no Witchwoods.
You're making me sad, man. There
Well,
must be Witchwoods.
I'm kind of like, can I? So I need to. If I want a Witchwoods, I've got to drop down to, or drop
You
a
probably
unit
have to drop
basically.
down to 20.
Yeah, or I have
I
to
think
drop
I was
an
fiddling around with the
Archon,
Heretic.
or
Yeah, I think I only had 1 Archon. Trying to work out how I did it.
be very sad.
But
with an
I
Archon.
didn't have 30 Dreadrots, but I think I had 20 plus a Murder Crow unit to try
Yeah.
and keep people closer.
That's the thing, right? So if I dump Longfellow for a tree, then I can drop. I've got to dump a Defiled Archon and a unit of Dreadrots down to minimum to be able to get a tree and a Grave Ghoul. If you've got trees, you definitely want Grave Ghouls. But the thing is with the trees, I was basically wondering whether obviously you AD them, but I was just like, after turn 1, am I just going to outpace them?
No, I mean they're reasonably fast. Like, especially because Dreadrots are pretty slow. Like, your Dreadrots can run 10 inches turn 1.
So 12
So your
inches for
trees
2
are
of them, right?
still ahead.
Because 2 units will get
Yeah, 12.
Desperate
Yeah, so
Pace.
12 inches for 2 of them. And you've already got 6 inches and 5. You can go 11 inches up with the trees. So you still have a pretty solid threat range.
So essentially, after turn 1, they're around about the same distance up the table.
Yeah.
But then the next turn, if you've gone first, then you can go into their stuff. Then the next turn, your Dreadrots are like 6 inches ahead of the trees.
Maybe. I think it depends how aggressively you play your Dreadrots.
Yeah.
Like, I know I get worried when I play lots of infantry that people sandpaper out everything in the charge range and then they just sit back.
Yeah.
And your charge range is kind of shit. So, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's that toss up, right? Of, do you have Filed Archons, you've got longer gallows, or do you give up on that? Because I think
You've got long gallows and you can go nuts.
Might be worth more than having another drag.
Maybe.
Especially when there's nothing else in the list that can really remove things out of the way to stop it being dragged.
Yeah.
Like if I had like clockatrices maybe to clear out things. I think having potential 3 drags out of Baron and Heretic, if you really need it,
right,
probably enough at like 13 inches.
Yeah, fair enough.
That was the plan, and I went in and
okay.
Yeah, my opponent Simon, who runs the shared event, left a Slayer in the left-hand zone, a bit too far forward. I think. Oh, he'd forgotten. He'd forgotten about Spectral Onslaught, so he was like, "Oh yeah, there's this massive bit of water, basically like a lake, in front of my dreadnoughts on the left." And it wasn't until I'd started activating, and I was like, shit, they just don't care about that. And I was like, no, they don't care about it at all. Like, well, I guess he's dead, but can I mop up afterwards? But on the right-hand side, I had close enough that I landed Hellfire on Erebus and on another Slayer, and then teleported backwards. At which point, Heretic positioned 13 inches away from Erebus, dragged him 6 inches, which is like, okay. So and then Baron did the same and dragged the Slayer 5 inches. I was like, well, I've definitely got to do some work because Heretic's not got a lot of fury left on him, and these two jacks are real close now. But I killed. I think the left of the Slayer, pretty crippled but surrounded by dreadnoughts. I killed Erebus and I killed the Slayer on the left as well.
I mean that's the thing. That's still it's still a Kriegstrack, so
it is. Yeah.
If you've got a decent roll to hit.
Death Ward up and locked horns. So yeah, they did okay. But obviously
it's reasonably tanky, but it's not going to stand up to a Fury Dreadnought
he
unit.
Had to then come in basically to try and clear me out. He did clear out a bunch of stuff, but I still had like so many more dreadnoughts to go in the next turn.
Oh, of course, you've got an absurd number.
Yeah, with that, and that's part of it, right? I think if you have only 20, it's a lot easier to deal with. You've got if you're skewing, you've got to skew hard, right? There's no point in taking 10.
I suppose that's true.
Gotta go full boat.
You're gonna skew go all the way.
So, but yeah, it's interesting. I've been dropping that and the Dreamer version because they're the same Warjack points or Beast points into like everything. We'll see how it comes out. But I'm pretty happy with it. Like they're cool to play. It's a very different Grimkin list, and it's also because it's so different. It's like opened up just all these arcana that you don't normally see at all. So Ill Omens is literally every game I'm taking Ill Omens because it's trigger inside control.
There are so many heavies with 1 inch reach now.
Yeah.
That you'd be silly not to play the Shadow.
I am very often playing the Shadow. Yeah. So
it's that's good.
Yeah. So the Shadow, Ill Omens, and then the Reckoning. Unlike the just the Reckoning and the Fury means I can put the Dreadrots up to power 17 Weapon Masters.
Well, that's the other thing is that the Heretic is probably the only Defier that actually has a universally good Trump Arcana.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the Child's is decent, but great, it's not great.
It's only for the beasts. So it kind of limits more how you want to play her.
And it's not fantastic because like you get all this extra fury, but then you don't have all that fury to reave, so to leech next turn. So you end up really overclocking your beasts. Like it's got trade-offs. Like there is nothing trade-off about the Heretics. It's just a straight-up great Arcana.
And I guess it's like faction knowledge and stuff. You need to trigger it on the right thing. If you're triggering it on a unit of,
you need to trigger it on something you can kill.
Yeah, and they send one of their like there's a soulless escort for the unit of Risavas or something.
That's gonna zone.
You basically just got to keep an eye out for stuff like that, which you learn with experience. But,
exactly.
But yeah, so I mean, a lot of fun though playing Grimkin again, and delving into basically Arcana I've never touched before. So. I know
it's awesome. It's like discovering a new toy.
It's like a little the
Heretic's the best one to play the Shadow with because he's got the highest command of any.
Exactly. That was another reason why I flipped across was that extra command range for triggering Shadow. And
that's fantastic.
And obviously you can still pump stuff onto wherever you bring. So if you bring in a Skin and Moans, probably
it's
probably
fantastic.
quite comfortably load it with 3 corpses and Fury.
You can.
to-
Well,
to
the
go
thing
and
is, you can
destroy
throw it early and then make it a skinny, or just make it a or
Cage
just
Ranger.
a cage rage, or whatever suits you. But once you've made it, like if they want to kill that, they have to dedicate a second heavy to your 30 dreadrots. Like there is no downside here.
Yeah, and there's lots of little nice tricks you can do. So if you bring in a Cage Ranger, it's really easy to get a corpse onto it. You bring it in and it's not engaged, you could just gallows stuff into melee with it. Or use one of your actual heavies to kill the thing that you've brought it in behind, and then you use that as the arc node to bring in whatever else you want.
That's very clever.
And obviously, you can just drag in corpses off the bodies of the dreadrots as well. So it's easy to get the skin and bones or the Cage Ranger up to very hard hitting. And just a Cage Ranger, right? With Fury on, goes up to like power 22. So likely is.
And once you can, and I have to say, once you can get corpses on him, I have a lot of time for our buddy Isaiah.
Yes, yeah, he does some work. Like a power 60,
really
power
good.
16 weapon master before you put Fury on him.
Yeah.
They're at power 19, and then you trigger Reckoning, and he's power 21 weapon master with Thresher, just going. Like,
look, you're probably not going to put Fury on him. It's really inefficient, but for the rest, just go bananas. You might just for bragging rights. Yeah, I have a bragging rights from a couple months ago.
His minus death isn't going to matter because when you shoot him, you're just going to palm it off to.
He's just sack pawning anyway. Who cares? Yeah, so, just doesn't care. I have a bragging rights. So this was from 3 Brightons ago. I was playing into it wasn't Kruger 2, but it was someone playing in Bones. It might even have been Belder 1. And Rias managed to just crank the dice to hit a fully healthy Walled Warden and 36 boxes in one hit. Yeah, 36 boxes in one hit.
Drug.
That's it's an unbelievable drug.
So
I've never done it before, probably never do it again.
So you've got at least 3 Steamrollers out of Brighton then. So that's pretty good going.
I mean, like they're keeping the meta going really strong.
Yeah.
And it's a great bunch of guys doing it.
Pretty cool. So talking about events, one of the things we were going to talk about was what our favourite event that we'd been to was. So I'll kick off with mine. Was the inaugural Steamroller from the Warsaw Warmasters team down in Warsaw. Big surprise. And that was held at Asgaard Games, which it was so nice to go back to events, and there's a new venue that was just gorgeous to be at. The atmosphere was super chilled. There's tons of room for your tables, space around you. It's in a huge, basically like sort of shopping centre sort of warehouse thing. So it's it's like a 50-foot ceiling above you. The ventilation is not a problem. And the food was amazing, and and it was my first event I'd actually placed first at ever. I've never got first. I got second, third, a bunch of events, but I've never claimed first until then. So that kind of just like little combination of things just made the event for me. That was really cool. And that was just before the update landed. And obviously it was nice to see loads of people because there was I like to say 3. I think there were three separate pods of Steamrollers going on basically. So we did a first round to work out where everyone was going to play, and then the organisers tried to avoid putting like club mates together, sort of thing. And then and then had three separate Steamrollers sort of branch off from that. So we had four games. So it's really really cool. It definitely cemented my love for the venue, and I met the owner, had a nice chat, and I was like, "I'm fantastic he's done. He's got all this Nordic artwork all over the walls." So love a bit of that. Obviously, Asgard into the the theme there. Yeah, it was
That's
super cool.
really cool.
Obviously, they've been there's been an event since we went to one in the depths of the snowstorm we had, and then that's when the team event is going to be in January, just after my birthday. So that should be cool.
Oh, awesome!
So and Big Dom, one of my locals, our troll / minions player, has got me on his team. So we're going down with locals this time, which is cool. So yeah, hands down, that's my favourite. I know. Obviously, there's a special place in my heart for the local events for me, but I'm not. I've never bought into the hype about the buffet at Sherwood, so I enjoyed the food at Asgaard. So what about you, man? You obviously you've been up here, you've been to a bunch of Brighton events.
So for me, my favorite has to be Sherwood, just because it was also the first. There was the first big event, or the only big event I went to this year, but it was the first one out of lockdown. I got to see a whole lot of people and play a whole lot of people that I've never played before. I got to put faces to all of these people I'd met through VTC and had never actually, shaken a hand.
We met each other for the first time and played each other.
Yeah, that was the first time I actually saw you in the flesh. Exactly. We actually played each other in the second round as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fantastic, and just seeing the toys on the table again, because I'm very much into the competitive side and the hobby. I feel like Warmachine's a great tabletop miniature game.
Yeah.
As much as I love VTC, Warmachine's a shit computer game. There's just no other way to say it. It really is. It's not designed for a computer game, and that's not a slight on Warmachine. It's just not what it is.
Yeah.
And seeing the toys on the table is what brings it alive to me, and seeing all of the toys on the table again.
Yeah, there's a huge social part of it.
It's look, I'm a horrible human being, so people like I can take and leave after a while. I like speaking to people. I like meeting people, and then I hit a timer. And then I hit a timer. It's like, okay, right, enough human beings. Just push your models on the table and let's play some games.
Oh, gotta love it. So Sherwood for you, and that was obviously
Sherwood's fantastic.
That was Simon's first event back as well. So I think it was
and Simon put on a great show. He really did.
Yeah, he does. He puts in a lot of effort and full on gets his family involved, and they'll be
amazing.
They'll be cooking and baking cakes. I think most of the catering is all done by them that the night before and that morning. However many 50 cakes and millions sausage rolls and stuff. So good.
Yeah.
Them, basically.
Completely kind of changing topic for no good reason, or going back to topic.
Yeah.
I've just fiddled around with the heretic list over here.
Ooh, all right.
And I can fit in. So I'm looking at your what's the name? At your Dreadrot list. So effectively, I can build in here Heretic, Baron, and a pair of Skinnies, Death Knell, 2 Defileds, Isaiah, a single Witchwood, a Grave Ghoul, 2 Malady Men, and then I've got to drop one of the 3 Dreadrot units down to a min.
Okay, down to a min. That's not awful.
And then there's 1.3, which I suppose gives you 2 Cask Imps.
2 Cask Imps to fill
up the last point.
What am I missing? Oh, one Witchwood, is it?
Yeah, there's only one Witchwood. So the Malady Men and the single Witchwood take up the requisitions. And it gives you a Grave Ghoul. It gives you... Yeah, that Grave Ghoul is so good. And I do like the Witchwood.
I definitely like
Witchwood. It's such a pain. You have to commit something so heavy to kill that stupid Witchwood.
Yeah, and obviously there's the bonus again that you can just quite easily get corpses onto it. And probably put corpses onto it before other stuff. I don't know. I will consider it.
It's interesting.
The plan at the moment is play play 10 games or something, and then
I suppose see how your 30 are doing, and if you really feel you need the Witchwood.
Yeah. Have a look.
I definitely feel the Grave Ghouls will win. Anyway, back to the world that was.
So we've had physical events. The other thing we're going to talk about is what we thought like the best event out there was. And I immediately jumped on Warfare Weekend. Although Bokur Brawl probably like comes really close. And that was just because of the streaming. So obviously we're
I mean,
seeing
I
people's
have
lists
to
and...
I have to jump in and say the same thing, just because this was across the continent, and
Yeah.
we could kind of not quite get involved, but at least feel
we could follow
connected,
it,
see
yeah.
what's happening, kind of
So
see how the meta's
the Bokur
warping.
Brawl guys had someone streaming, but I think they only did like so many games. It's like a bit more limited, whereas Warfare Weekend gave us like a lot more to consume. So
Yeah,
that's the only reason
it
that
really did.
they pipped it for me was that basically there was so many, like there's the last chance qualifier that was like a game every round of that was streamed, and then obviously then the invitation itself was a game every round. So that was like 8 like 10 games or something, I think they streamed like the event. So it was really cool to get to see like loads of these Americans.
It was great to see privateers stuff also doing some commentating, just really getting that communal feel going.
So yeah, absolutely for me, Warfare Weekend was that was the only reason why. So Bokur Brawl did it first, but then Warfare Weekend unfortunately came in stronger, like in a couple of weeks later, with PP doing the commentary and with a lot more streaming happening. But yeah, it was really cool to see. Oh, the cat is waking. But yeah, it was like, and it's so cool to see like all these Americans. Predominantly, I think Canada was kind of still locked down at the time. Not sure if we had any Canadians.
Could well be.
I know that was the case for Bokur. But I'm here. We got to see JVM and Brent Simon and a bunch of new people, and obviously Baby Michael and a bunch of new people, all playing their real models on the table, which was super cool.
Baby Michael bringing the most boring caster in the game back into the fold. You owe someone a beer for that, man.
That was so funny as well. So literally the Monday before Warfare Weekend, my local circle player rocked up and put down 2 World Wraths, Boulder 2, and a bunch of other stuff in front of me, and I was like, oh.
I have nothing polite to say to that.
Is this a thing? and it was, and that was against.
And all you want to say is, please God, tell me it's not a thing, because fuck this thing.
Well, yeah, and then obviously on the weekend we saw it all over the internet, and I'm sure there are more stone monkeys out there than have been in some time. And Matt Moke, my local, playing in Bones of Orboros, so he was playing it slightly different. So didn't have the Death Archon, but did have like a megalith and 2 heavies, so it had a lot of geomancy. So made sure that Roots of the Earth was everywhere. A bunch of mannequins, so lots of stuff to be able to clear infantry and landing zones. Then double shifting stones. Effectively, when you cast Roots of the Earth on them, effectively become useless rock wall. No, so you teleport them. Just you put down your rock wall in front of one of your World Wraths. Then you teleport an entire unit of shifting stones in front of your World Wrath, and you stick Roots of the Earth on them, and they essentially just do exactly the same as your wall and just block landing zones, because they're up to like armor 24 or something.
Yeah, they're armor 23. Like, no, not 23. They're armor 21.
21.
They're base 18. Roots of the Earth.
But still,
Roots of the Earth plus 3. Yeah.
You've got to either devote significant, powerful shooting to clear that.
Yeah, you've got to declare some pretty significant resources to clear that nonsense.
Then it's basically another wall that you're not going to be able to land stuff
anything
on.
Significant enough to clear those should be targeting heavies or World Wraths anyway.
Yeah.
So it's a win-win for the Boulder player.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what to... Yeah. That's pretty damn solid.
Yeah. It was a bit brutal. I think when we played, I'd mispositioned Skin and Bones like slightly within range of a teleport from one of his heavies as well, and the heavies like do enough work on their own as well.
All the Minoth players keep telling me Hobby's out of the meta. Bring back Hobby. She can't purify off Roots of the Earth, but Purify kills Rockwool.
Yeah. But apparently,
Purification kills Rockwool.
Menoth are one of the bottom 3 factions at the moment.
I know. Jeez. The Menoth Lamentations are... I mean, I just got my ass handed to me by Menoth a couple days ago. It's like 72. It's just revolting.
You getting involved, Cat?
But yeah. And now, Kitty? Nah.
She's involved briefly. She's watching. She's literally looking up at the webcam, going, "What the hell is that?"
Oh, right.
Like, what's going on here?
But yeah, Menoth players are not happy with the world.
It's weird.
I'll be honest. I don't play.
Have given up on tridents, and like everyone that plays another faction is like, cool. Good.
I'll take those. I'll take those in a heartbeat.
I'm happy if you don't take tridents against me.
Yeah.
But it's a weird thing, right? So we're still very much still in flux. I think it's going to take a little while for things to settle into what we're going to actually see. But it's well. I know one thing we're going to fucking see though.
I was watching Syria with double tridents still tear apart. Which circle list was it? Was it Wormwood or was it Kruger? Whichever it was just not pretty for.
Yeah, I imagine
it wasn't pretty for Circle.
But yeah, we'll see. Obviously, a lot of people are digging for gold and trying different things out at the moment. But there's definitely some meta boogeyman who are horrific.
I've had to rejig my Veth 1 list, which I'm very upset about, because I built the thing to basically to each Kruger, which it does with the greatest of pleasure. Except that it's kind of useless into Wormwood, and it's no good having a circle drop that can't play into the favored off list.
Yeah.
So I've had to do some redesigning.
What do you think about? So obviously there's been a bunch of stuff that has changed, and the meta has shifted enough that we can see the scariest things on the block are.
So shall we go through the big changes through the year? Who were the big boogeymen first, before and after each big change? I think that'll be an interesting kind of trip down memory lane to
if we look
to wrap the year up.
The start of the year, I'd say Strange Bedfellows,
Beth 2,
and Beth
2, Aurora 2.
Yeah, we'll probably
with the big
monsters.
Flying
high. Flying high. I didn't mean to do that.
You shouldn't have. Kruger 2, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah. Kruger 2 Death Archons.
And then obviously people started learning what to play into them and teching for them specifically. So you used to see more,
and Falsier.
Oh yeah, and Falsier.
Absolute, who somehow got better now.
Decapitating monster. And then we start seeing people adapt and start making tech choices. So we see in Khador a bunch Victor and a bunch of ponies, for instance.
Yes.
To shut down on the Aurora lists. We'd see the lovely Zakova pairs. Quite happy if Zakova just went away.
I love Zerx 1, man. Oh, I have such a soft spot for Zerx 1.
The cat's trying to leave. She can open the door. Can you open the door? She's struggling with it.
All good. So I really do like good old Zerx.
What I don't get is, can someone explain to me how come Zakova is not the traitor Khador caster?
I have no idea. I cannot answer this question for you.
Surely that. Right.
Who is the traitor one? Is it Malikov?
It's Discombobulator himself. Malikov.
Probably the best caster in Infernals right now.
Possibly. Pretty fucking mean, I tell you. But which is kind of good, right? It's meaning Infernals players are actually reaching for Hearts of Darkness lists for the first time,
And
properly.
Yeah. Infernal players are reaching to not play Infernals, which tells you a lot about the state of the
too.
faction.
So that was like early in the year.
And
then...
I suppose if we're talking early the year, they weren't as dominant as they were before the Valen and first Tormentor nerf.
Yeah.
But Infernals was still bloody scary early in the year.
Yeah, very much so. I try and think who else. The Land with the Doom Reavers has basically always hung in there. Harvey's always hung around. Harvey Cyrenia has been a pretty scary pairing.
Yeah. Harvey Cyrenia were very scary early on.
Yeah. But not so much anything else, I think, to worry about. And then obviously as we sort of approached the middle of the year, and then the updates coming towards us, I guess that was really when things started changing. Obviously, the Infernals had a little bit of a step back in the pre-nerfs, but I think everyone agreed, right, that was okay.
Sort of.
Infernals.
No.
I think Infernals.
Everyone knew Valen needed a nerf.
Yes.
The mat nerf on the Tormentors was rough. It was rough, and I think that has a lot to do with why we saw no Infernals or almost no Infernals at the second VTC.
Yeah. But I think Infernals have been like this weird one, right? Where if you want to put time in to play them to a point where you're actually going to own the army, they're so hard. Like the availability and the raw cost to get into playing Infernals is so much higher than like any other faction. Yeah, you've got to really fucking want them. To put that much in.
I just arrived today's second-hand unit of what's it called?
Howlers.
Howlers.
Yeah.
I'm still not giving up, but they're definitely lower on my list right now
than they were. Yeah. No, I get it. So I think like they were definitely, they had their time, right, where they 100% dominated, because they did the same as when Grimkin first came out.
Pretty much.
Crucible Guard didn't
Grimkin
really
had
see
longer
it.
in the sun than Infernals did.
Maybe,
but yeah.
I think it took a lot of time for people to work their way around, not just how to deal with the stuff in the army, but how the Arcana worked.
Ages.
How it'd fuck you.
It took ages for people to get enough tools to deal with gremlin swarms.
Yeah. There's a lot more magical weapons
was a big
now.
thing.
There's a lot more stuff that sees through stealth now. And obviously we saw when Animag sort of came in, there was just this huge swathe of extra grievous wounds out there to deal with sacrifices.
Remember when they first came out, you didn't have all the variety you have now in objectives either. An objective was an objective. That only came in, after about 2 years of Grimkin. Like Grimkin had a long time of gremlin swarms. Just
and grievous wounds being basically available from normally just a merc option if you were lucky.
Mm-hmm.
So that obviously made a huge difference to how Grimkin were doing, because they were like, well, they could just tromp all over the field and just know that the one model has got a gun that can do grievous wounds to you, for instance. So, we see it. So obviously, the event I talked about earlier, the Warsaw one, was just before the dynamic update. So that was my last game with Aurora 2, with the Auroras.
Right.
I played Aurora 1 and 2 at the event.
So
not that she's dead, I'd say. I think she's still got game, just not as much, and obviously there's a lot more meta questions and things that she doesn't want to see than she did before.
So then post update, this has all changed. So, and I don't even know if we can. I don't think we can say it's settled as to who the boogeymen are right now. There's still so much experimentation.
His name is Karchev.
Well, his name is Karchev.
And he comes along with his girlfriend Zakova too.
Bullshit. I'm not so scared of Zerks too, but
I think Karchev 2 Zakova 2 is probably the scary pair.
card shift 2 and play whoever the hell you want. You're one listing the event. Who are you kidding? It just
likely are, but like if you do come up against, say, an infantry swarm that can that can open up all your jacks, then you drop down your ponies.
What infantry swarm is going? Like, unless Scar 1 goes back to playing Banes, you're not opening up those jacks. Like, maybe Vlad 1 with Doom Reavers?
Yeah, maybe.
Vlad 2
maybe
Doom
Heretic.
Reavers.
I'm trying to think
I
who
don't
else.
even know. Heretic's possible.
Maybe
The problem
start
is
looking at
Vlad
things like
outtricks
the Strikers,
That's not Vlad.
with like Legion Lost Souls again, because they can get pretty high, and obviously then have Tough and Vengeance, and can bring more back.
Maybe Fiona's tanking and you can't hit anything, but I mean base mat 8 is big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I definitely think he's currently like the boogeyman, right? I know.
Yeah.
I think everyone is trying to work out how to deal with him.
I've seen a couple of Legion players sending me messages of how the fuck do we deal with Wormwood. Wormwood is Circle and Living Beasts are terrifying right now. Like the shit you can pull with Living Beasts and Circle. Like there's been a lot opened up.
Yeah, I think they go too far and they hit too hard. It's basically
they go very far. They hit very hard. And if you want to play with I haven't seen people abusing the goats yet, and most of the Circle players or like the guys like Harrison have said, like, we just don't want to commit to buying that many goats. We're pretty sure they're getting nerfed.
Yeah,
like they're way too good. We can see it a mile away.
Yeah, you don't want to drop
way
like
too good.
$100, $200 on getting enough because you probably don't have any, right? You probably don't.
I've got one magnetized goat, and then I've got a Nullhorn and a Shadowhorn. Like,
so you need to buy like another.
Do I really
want
to buy not quite, but like another 3 or 4 goats realistically?
Yeah.
Like, do you really want to make that investment? Because they're not going to be this good for long.
Yeah.
They are way too good.
Oh, we're gonna see how this sells. So one of the things that we were talking about before we went live tonight was how obviously the dynamic update that we just talked about was like the biggest thing, right? That it was
absolutely
huge. It's basically equivalent to dropping a new version. Like the differences have been so vast, but have been like so measured as well. So obviously when Faye came on the show, she talked about how they looked at the metric that they could control, which was points. It was so that's why it was a tweaking of points to be able to go, there's this slight change in this direction, there's a slight change in this direction, and then we can see. And so like I saw there's so many people across like so many different metas I've seen have started coming back since then, and I think this is like a huge like vote in confidence towards the new dev team.
It was a massive vote of confidence.
Yeah.
And I think they really put their best foot forward on it. It's like, people I've spoken to, I've definitely heard like mixed reports. How could X happen? How could Y happen?
Yeah.
And I mean, we're all gamers. You know how we get. We find our one bugbear and we just hop on it.
Yeah.
But like the overall changes have been amazing in my view.
I think as well, a lot of the players that have left the game over the last couple of years have left the game and have been like maybe disenfranchised by multiple things being too much. So it could be the Archons were too much. Could be they felt that the Infernals were too much. And there's a whole like
when they came out, they were ridiculous.
They definitely. Or it could be the nerfs to their favourite casters or factions have been too much. And they've kind of held on to it, right? And without being active in the meta and like online to know really how things are changing, they've kind of seen how heavy-handed, like across like multiple podcasts, they talk about like the typical PP like triple tap, the over nerf of if something has shown itself to be too powerful, it just gets nerfed into the ground. It's then just put on the shelf.
Yes,
you're done.
We like to refer to that as the Haley treatment.
Yeah. And then obviously we also saw multiple models come out of Riot Quest that were just silly, right? Just
bananas.
Silly good. And And that's the thing.
And
that,
you always
that put
forget,
off...
like half the Riot Quest models that came out were also just dog shit awful.
Yeah. There was like
You know,
a lot of stuff that was complete dross. A lot
things
of stuff
like
that was
shivers.
a lot of stuff that was immense, like incredibly overpowered, and then some stuff in the middle. But like, the minority being the actual balance models, but that was another thing that was like hugely divisive in the community. And I know people that just left because they were like, they hate the aesthetic, they hate that Riot Quest was forcing these OP models onto Warmachine, basically.
Yeah,
they were like, no, fuck it.
I have to agree with them. I can't stand the aesthetic. Like Lilith 4, is actually a really interesting caster for Legion, but like, really, metal robot woman? Like, if you wanted to play robots, I wouldn't be playing Legion. I'd
you
pick
play
up
that.
Crick.
She looks like a steel sword protector, basically, with a bow, right?
Yeah, like the Meccano Shredder is pretty much essential for any Legion's list nowadays.
Yeah.
You'd be silly not to play it. But really, it's a wind-up toy. Like, it doesn't feel like this is part of your Dragonspawn army.
Yeah.
There's definitely been some assault on the aesthetic by Riot Quest that I don't appreciate. I do sympathize with that.
I think that's quite a popular opinion amongst Warmachine players. That's not to say that Riot Quest hasn't been popular on its own, because obviously they've done well at the Kickstarter. That's been good to make sure like they've got money coming in. But
there is no need for that to be tied into Warmachine.
That force on us has been unwelcome. I think under previous development teams. Is that like a diplomatic way enough of saying that we basically we paid for the Hunger for Duality project? Maybe, I don't know. It kind of felt a bit like that.
No, I would venture that's fair.
Which is some people loved it, a lot of people didn't. But like as things have come in under Faye, it seems less that way. And obviously, all these players that have come out of the game don't know, so that they're still like, well, yeah, but don't you get all this ridiculous Riot Quests? Don't you get all these stupid things that are coming in haven't been properly tested? And as we're progressing under like the pay and the new devs, like reign, I guess, we're seeing more positive changes. And obviously, then she's talked about how the plan is to keep an eye on things. So it's not like it's obviously the huge update. And this is what we're looking forward to, right? Is what's next out of this update.
So
cycle.
I'm hugely optimistic, but the next thing I say I'm looking to see is, okay, great stuff. The dev team Faye, they've talked a good game. I love their first step.
Yeah.
Money where your mouth is now. Let's follow it up with what stage 2.
Yeah, like
the job's certainly not finished.
So obviously there's a couple of casters, a couple of models that we just weren't touched at all that need to be picked up.
Yeah.
A couple of themes, probably.
And Faye, again, all credit where it's due. Faye mentioned, like, listen, some things just needed so much work that they needed a full rework and full internal play testing. Yeah. You couldn't do the slapdash, and that's fair. But I want to see the rework now.
Yeah, I'd be interested. Like, will it be that we see the Circle Beasts toned down a little bit, just because they are very oppressive? Will we see? It's hard to predict, right?
It's hard to say. Yeah, I mean, the Circle Beasts were. I mean, it was always about playing Warp Wolves, and I think you'll have a mutiny on your hand if you kind of gave them 3 months of being good and then nerfed them.
Yeah, but things like small tweaks,
the goats could use 1 point. Yeah, the goats could use a point back. Like
we were talking in the club about how some things have changed. Maybe didn't need to change across everything. So Gatsby's changed, for instance, to Bloodthirsty. I'm not convinced that he should have lost Bloodthirsty across the board.
Absolutely, he should have lost it. He shouldn't have ever had it to start with.
This is my argument for it, right? And this comes from just like a balanced point of view where I think Gatsby should have Bloodthirsty on his card for Crick Swordjacks. So
Okay, for
so
just his own battle group.
so
I could
not
live with that.
not even for his own battle
Oh,
group. Because if you take him in
no.
mercenaries, he's a mercenary. If you take him in convergence, he's
Yeah.
convergence. So you can only benefit from it if he's played in
Oh,
Crix.
in Crix.
Because Crix
That's interesting because
lists
Crix
don't
struggles
go
with
too
threat
far,
ranges.
right? Yeah,
They
so
struggle with threat ranges.
I think that's a reasonable
That's interesting.
trade-off of basically not necessarily splitting the card, but just going, well, this faction is the one
It's
that you
not
could help
bad.
the most, that could use a bit of love, maybe.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm not interested in helping Crix Warjack lists.
I don't play Crix. Everyone, don't think I'm like trying to argue for something to make my make my list better.
So I do play Crix, and I'm just not interested in pushing Crix Warjacks. Crix Warjacks are shit. There's nothing you're going to do to fix that. Their base chassis is shit. I want Crix infantry to be playable.
So I know that a bunch of the Crix players up here, up in the north, are loving Karchev. So Andy's put in the chat earlier that
I was talking to Colin. Colin is moved to Malaysia. He's really enjoying it.
Yeah,
it's just
like Andy was saying how the Crix Warjacks are hitting harder than the Khador ones. So it might be easier.
Then you're building it wrong because they shouldn't. They're power 16. Like seriously, take Juggernauts.
They combo, right?
They combo for one hit and then what?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
They combo. They've got three.
They've
got 3 attack space, and you're losing all 3 for your one combo. And then what?
Do you take? I know some people have been taking the Crabjacks who do hit hard, right, in melee. Leviathan's like power 17.
Leviathan 17. The Harrow is 16. And the Corruptor I think is 16. Might be 17.
17 as well.
Yeah.
So
they're speed 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're speed 8, right?
Well, the speed 8 for one turn. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's the turn. Benefits slightly more. It's the turn you need them on, right?
But again, power 16 and 17, like this, and you've got no damage buff.
17s for Seethers, but you do, right? You just take Gatsby with an Arcanode.
That's an extra Warjack you're not taking.
It is, yeah, but like Gatsby does enough that he makes up for a Warjack,
it's
right?
True, but then why are you playing Karchev? What are you getting out of Karchev?
The rest of the Jacks, the rest of the Jacks.
I'm just not impressed.
You're not sold.
Yeah, I'm not sold even slightly.
Crix players out there, you need to convince Evan. He's given up. He's given up on Crix Warjacks completely.
I mean, look. I mean, I never liked Crix for the Warjacks. Crix Warjacks are they're fragile. They are. They've got high base stats, but you've got a faction that just doesn't buff their movement, so they're kind of you're hoping for Ghost Walk on your caster because otherwise they're slow. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not impressed. I'm really not impressed by Crix Warjacks.
I think we'll see.
Have been.
I think we'll see in the next couple of months, and then as these events start to happen, whether or not Crix players have found just a different way of playing it, so they're not just relying on it being like a tank. They're relying on it being a delivery system, maybe. But we'll see.
I mean, it's just it's a shitty version of the Khador variant. There's no way out of it.
Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But that's cool. But yeah, so I think it'll be interesting to see how things pan out and what gets tweaked. Does Karchev need to be tweaked himself? He needs to just lose a couple of Warjack points. I'm not sure yet.
He needs to lose Locked Horns. Locked Horns in Khador is just gross. It's just gross.
Locked Horns and an armor buff on top of it is.
And Death Ward on top of it. Like, goddamn. Like, you know what? I can live with Khador having one armor buff on a Jack. Like, Death Ward, fine. But an entire Jack wall at armor 22, that's not okay. That's just straight up not okay. And
you might be right.
Yeah.
Maybe with all these big ass heavies with a lot of armor, it's finally somewhere to play a slaughterhouse. If only we had a snipe
I
caster.
have not been drinking enough for that to accept that.
Well,
one.
I've been drinking nothing. So yeah.
Ah.
I what I've done though is segue us into talking about the best releases of the year, and I'm saying the Slaughterhouse.
Oh,
The Slaughterhouse
it's not the one.
is hands down my pick for the best release. It's not the best rules release, but it's the best. I love how it looks.
It's a gorgeous mini. It's a gorgeous mini.
Yeah, I think
I'll
it looks
give it
so
that.
cool. And one day it will somehow find itself into a list that isn't just for fun. But today is not the day, so maybe that's something that it sees along the line. Is it gets like a dual attack, or we have a snipe caster, or something to make it.
That's fair.
Not like
not awful.
Yeah.
I mean, the Slaughterhouse is a gorgeous mini, and to me, it falls into the category of the old Lilith 3 Archangel. Even when it was released, Storm Raptor,
it's just
where
like
this is a
huge
beautiful model
centerpiece.
that huge army centerpiece, beautiful model, and it's just going to make you sad when you finish painting it and put it on the table.
Yeah. Well, on the shelf, right?
Well, eventually on the shelf because it made you feel sad.
Yeah. Like I don't think I'm not sure I've got any lists in my war room at the moment that even have it in it. I've tried.
No, why would you? I mean, on a similar vein, I really do like the Harvester model. I painted it up. I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
It's actually fine on the table. The army around it's a little naff right now, which is a bit of a pity.
Yeah.
So I gave it a bit of a try on the table, but it needs help. Well,
I've realized
the army around it needs help.
I've just realized what the flaw in this whole plan for me is the problem with the Slaughterhouse. They're just trying to put it in the wrong spot. So what I need to do is just stick it in that heretic list.
Oh really?
I don't know, but I might give it a bash. So have the Slaughterhouse, because there's just so many fucking bodies you could put in the way to stop stuff from getting to it.
Now you know what would make the Slaughterhouse interesting.
Hmm.
Give it a command ability that every model within 5 inches gains sack pawn Slaughterhouse.
Oh.
Now that would make it an interesting model.
Yeah, because armor 20 in Grimkin doesn't carry you very far.
It doesn't, but if you can keep sack pawning to the Slaughterhouse, now suddenly instead of killing half your army, they've done half damage to a Slaughterhouse, and they're terrified of killing anything for sacrifice.
Yeah.
Suddenly that becomes interesting.
But I definitely think there's a game there worth trying. of where can I fit a slaughter? Do I just literally give Heretic a Slaughterhouse, the same list? So
why?
So one, I don't know, but I want it to work. So
yeah, you'd basically trade out the Death Knell and the two skinnies for a Slaughterhouse.
No, you keep the Death Knell.
You don't have the points for that. The Slaughterhouse still needs another 4 points.
So you dump your Witchwood because you've got a gun, a boostable gun instead to drag. Basically you have the same thing, right? You've got a Baron, Slaughterhouse, Death Knell, 2 Archons, Isaiah,
and your
a
Slaughterhouse
Grave
needs to find space to walk up and shoot behind 30 Dreadrots.
Maybe not. This is how much I like it, right? I'm trying so hard.
I want you to play it. I want to be wrong. I'm not wrong though, and you know I'm not wrong.
I know. But maybe someone locally will play it, and they'll see I'll actually finish building it. It's still in the box. Still in the box. Give us a reason to get the Slaughterhouse out of the box. Anyway, so that was my choice. Your choice was Harps of Souls. For a similar reason, right? It looks super cool.
Similar reason.
It actually is good on the table.
It opens the faction up a bit, which is interesting. It gives the faction a decent range game, and it actually not quite guarantees, but close to guarantees a couple of souls onto your caster.
Yeah.
And that makes a really big difference with Infernals. So I do like it. kind of wish the army around it was a little better.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That looks good.
Yeah.
What were the duff things that we've seen this year? What's been bad? Like, has there been a lot of bad stuff?
No, I mean there've been a couple of questionable choices in the updates.
Yeah.
But I do feel like those were all really thoroughly offset by all the things that were done right.
Yeah. There was a lot done right.
There was a lot more done right than done wrong, and the stuff that was done wrong wasn't done so badly wrong that it overshadows the stuff done right. I think duff things were basically Riot Quest releases. I think Melvin 2 is way over the top. He is
and
stupid as a short solo. Death Chip is fucking ridiculous.
I gotta go with it. I absolutely despise and hate the aesthetic of Princess Delora. Is it
Princess
Delora?
Dolores Graciela, whatever the fuck.
It just grates me. There's just a woman in a ball gown with 2 miniguns. I'm like,
with the minigun and a rifle and a pistol and whatever the fuck.
Yeah. And it just like I'm all for like powerful female characters. Like Warmachine is full of powerful female characters. To be fair,
Warmachine is mostly powerful female characters. Take a look at the Warcasters and the Warlocks.
A lot of the big characters in the lore and on the table are female, but like it's not that. It's literally the aesthetic, which obviously we've talked about is that Riot Quest aesthetic of
and I know a lot of people are going to kind of point at us and kind of smirk a bit, like the 2 Grumkin players are bitching about a cartoony aesthetic.
Yeah.
But yes, that's exactly what we're fucking doing, like right there.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah, if there's
the same objection
model,
I have to the Meccano Shredder.
Yeah, if there's a model this year that's come out that I could just put a stamp on and say no, it would be her. I just send her back and say just make her look like badass.
Just try again.
Yeah, try again. Yeah, there's a lot cooler like.
Look, if the model sculpts, I have to do that. It wouldn't be for this year's. That prize to me goes to anything with the word virtue on it. Just go back to the drawing board. I love you, Doug. You've done some amazing work, but this was not your best work, buddy. Sorry, man.
I've had this conversation multiple times. I think Doug does fantastic sculpts. And I don't know whether was he just pressured and hadn't finished, and they said you need to just have this out today.
I mean,
but I've not done the swords, and they're like,
maybe this was just a day. You know what? Maybe he was going through a hard time at home, and you know what? He actually just went on a deep heroin bender, and I found him in the back of an alley for 3 weeks. I don't know what happened, Doug. We want to help you, mate. We love you.
Those swords are not Doug level.
This was. Those swords, those forearms. This was not your best work. Sorry, mate.
Maybe it was like the intern like helped out with the sculpt post Doug. He sent it up to Seattle, and the intern was like, "Oh, I can sort this out. Let's make my mark." Yeah, and then promptly was fired. I don't know. I think some of the deleted sculpts that Doug's done over the years.
I think
the alt sculpts.
A couple years time, Doug's going to talk about them the same way Bill Murray talks about doing Garfield.
Yeah, possibly. That might already be but we've also had like super cool looking sculpts. Obviously, there's the slaughterhouse we've talked about. Karchif actually looks amazing.
I love the mini. It's gorgeous.
I'm really tempted to have a Karchif just to paint and then give to someone who wants to play it.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful mini. Absolutely. That mini was fantastic. I'm trying to think what else. Like in terms of rules releases, like the Zeros came out, and those things were just game changing for so many factions. The Zero Warlocks are bananas.
And they look really cool as well. Like model wise, they're really cool.
Yeah.
Rules wise, they're really cool.
Kruger's okay.
Kruger's a little bit underwhelming, I guess. I think he's probably the least interesting.
Look, I don't like Ogryn, so I'm not really. I couldn't care one way or the other about Thags. But he's got, he's got his place. He's an Ogryn. Yeah, fine.
When did the Defiled Archons come out? Did they come out this year? Did it come out last?
No. Defiled Archons came out like 2.5 years ago. They were because that's the reason I switched back to Grumkin for the last VTC.
It's been a long time since I've been playing Grumkin.
I switched back to Grumkin for VTC because of the Defiled Archons.
Okay. So yeah, it's been a while then. Because I love those models as well.
They're still sitting on my desk unpainted. Like I've really been slow to get to them.
Mine are partially painted. My heretic conversion is ready. I've actually put the extra time in to properly to pull him apart and do the proper blending of the wings.
I've just undercoated my pair of
I have an actual heretic finally, although it's not at my house. Yeah, I just bought it from Patriot or something. I can't remember. Yeah, Patriot. So it's at Gab's house, one of the locals, because he forgot to bring, because we did an order. I was like, stick heretic in your order and bring it on, and he forgot to bring it. So I won't actually see heretic till January.
Is it? I've just undercoated a pair of Death Archons because I want to be that guy and see how I can squeeze Death Archons actually into Legion, into Oracles, because there's some interesting options out there.
2? Can you bring 2 in Oracles?
Oracles works very much the same as Secret Masters. You can bring as many minions as you want, but none of them count as friendly faction.
Okay. You can bring 2, and what do you then try and skew the armor? So you want to take Thags or
either skew armor. I'm trying to remember who I built with. Was I building with twins at one point? No, that wasn't with the twins.
I'm assuming you build twins for everything, and then move on to other casters.
I've actually built something where I've been messing around with the twins in Oracles, just with all of the minion nonsense I can bring. So Wrong Eye and Snapjaw. I can't remember if I built in a Death Archon, but yeah, just all the solos I can basically fit in there.
Yeah.
And because you can bring a Death Archon and you can still bring Thag Zero, because he's not an Archon.
Yeah.
Even though he feels like he's a 0 level Archon.
Kind of is, yeah.
So there's some really interesting stuff you can play around with at the moment, which is exciting. But yeah, and at some point I'm just going to crack and pull out Circle, just because some days you just got to be the bad guy.
Some days you just want to win some games.
I mean, I just want to see how abusive those stupid Riphorns are. Like Riphorns with Kaya 2 just look obscene.
Is this going to be our Christmas Wartable game? Is I'll have some Karchev and you'll have some goats.
Oh God, and we'll deserve each other.
Yeah.
I mean, 12-21 goats seem fair. Like you'll out-threat me, and I just kind of won't care. 12-21 goats. In fact, you won't. I don't know if you necessarily out-threat me because we have
40, I think.
It's 14. So Warpwolf Stalker is base of 11. And then we've got another, 15 for a Stalker.
So Stalker's out threat. Interesting.
So 15 for a Stalker, 16 for a Feral.
That's far for a lot of heavies to go.
That's a lot of speed.
If something needs reading back in, that might be on the list. Just saying. If Faith listening. Maybe a little too far.
Leave my werewolves alone. We've been wanting werewolves to be viable for so long.
Yeah, but viable.
Leave the damn werewolves alone.
Or 16 inches across the table.
Kruger makes it. Well, Kruger 0 means you can suddenly warp speed with a feral and still kill what you're hitting.
Yeah.
Just previously you couldn't do it. Like you warp speed if you wanted to hit. If you were charging infantry. But that's it, yeah.
That's fair.
So
what else? What else we have to chat about? It's going to be a little bit of a short one tonight. One of the things we were going to sort of graduate towards at the end was the stuff that we're looking forward to. And obviously we talked about how we're looking forward to seeing where Faye and the development team take the further tweaks to the update. What gets done next, basically.
So what are you hoping is top of their list?
Well,
Sorry, what are you hoping
personally,
is second on their list? Karchev is top of the list. I'm not even. That's
I
not even
think
worth
I
discussing.
think
What's second on the list?
Karchev, Living Circle Beasts, perhaps.
Uh,
Arcana,
I'd like
I would
them
love to
to.
be quite high on the list.
They're not going to be.
Well, you never
It's
know, right?
too niche. It would be nice. Would be
Yeah,
nice.
but we know there's nothing
Um,
new coming until
yeah, I'd
the
love
big
to
O.
see. I'd love to see something come back for Infernals.
Yeah,
Even if it's not fixing the Tormentor Desolator, which I do think needs some help now. I'd
you
love
just
to
bring
see.
Discombobulate and a load of howlers, right?
I'd love to see the Soul Snake get some love
Yeah, it's such
to
a
be a viable
ridiculously cool
alternative.
model as well.
It's an amazing
I
mini.
don't
I
think I've
love
ever
that
seen.
thing.
I think I've seen one like once on
I've
the table.
I've
playing
brought one in
Steph.
on occasion just to piss about and steal a couple of souls, but honestly,
Yeah.
it's or the best time I brought one in was actually the other where I could bring it in. The other heavies were too slow to get to the zone I needed to contest.
Yeah.
That's like the only reason
You
to
just
bring
took
it
it
in.
for basically Pathfinder.
I took it for Pathfinder and
An
Speed
extra
7.
inch. Was it 2 inches?
At 2 inches. Yeah, at 2 inches.
Not bad.
Yeah, I took it for Pathfinder and Speed 7. That was it. But I would love to see a little bit of love over there. It really, they need a bit of thing. And you can't change anything core to the faction because, you can't change any core rules. There's too much that just swings.
Yeah.
I'd even love to see perhaps maybe some points drops to the support because the support is really expensive.
Yeah. That's not bad. That's not bad. Cool.
The cultists are pricey. They're 5-7, and that's for a unit of 4/6.
Yeah,
so they're pretty expensive.
I stand by how I still like to see Dark Sentinels as a 3-man combat cultist unit. They still have a cultist. Keep the cultist tag on them, but just rework them a bit so make them into an actual combat unit.
I'd like to see them. I mean, I'd like to see them as marked souls, but that might be wishful thinking.
Well, that's a lot of marked souls then, all of a sudden, isn't it?
I mean, it is, but
they'd have to be an expensive unit to otherwise you just take 2 units of dogs.
Even if they're attachments, it's just that they're such an expensive piece. You pay so much in support in Infernals.
Yeah.
And if you're going to leave the actual horrors as that goddamn fragile, the support can't be that expensive. Something has to give.
I on a personal note, while we're talking about support and changes, I'd really like to see conversions get a bit more of a tweak because they basically
that's fair.
They basically sort of shut down on the angel stuff a bunch, but really didn't do very much to help the other things in convergence that needed help. And again, there's a lot of support in convergence that costs a lot of points.
When it comes to overpriced support, I'd love to see the Death Knell get some more love.
Yeah. I think it's not quite there. It still needs
the Death Knell still isn't worth its points.
It still doesn't have enough, especially when you compare it to any other battle engine. It's
for 11 points, it just doesn't cut it.
Yeah, it needs to have some additional effect. It needs to have a gun, some way that it can interact with the game more than just going, I'll collect corpses and give you a bit of armor around me, and just run around every turn, because that's what effectively it does.
It needs something.
Yeah.
I'd love to see it. I'd really love to see Grimkin get a bit of support that can generate corpses.
Yeah.
Other factions that aren't designed around corpses can do it. Why can the faction that's designed for corpses not?
Yeah, I think going back to the Death Knell, I think Grimkin suffers so much for threat range. I don't think that it is a bad thing to just give it Wanderer's Gun. Basically, it's got
that's not bad.
Got a big old fishing pole with a lantern. Why not?
That's not bad at all. Just something.
Yeah, obviously you got to put it into a position there where it threatens. It is threatened if you want to be putting that out, and you need to make sure you've got the room to do so.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. There's plenty of tweaks.
I would love to see Crick's infantry get a hard look and rework. Like,
yeah, I think that's a big investment, right?
I'd like that to be the first major project.
Yeah.
Crick's infantry needs some help.
Yeah, we've said how Cricks have suffered for probably long enough.
A long time.
Probably
like the entirety of Mark III. Just
so maybe that is a good call that the Cricks get a bit more of an in-depth look, and that'd be nice to see faction by faction them going through, going right. What needs looking at. Preferably doing it in a non-linear order, so not necessarily going through all of the Warmachine factions from sort of Signar down to mercenaries, but just going, these guys are the ones that most need it, we'll go for these, and then this army in Hordes, this army in Warmachine, and just make sure you don't, if you're a sad minions player for whatever reason, you're not waiting forever to be the last one that gets looked at. And then other things is we're waiting for ginormous Viking Doombots.
Oh yeah,
infernal loving Viking Doombots.
Yeah, but like Orgoth. Weird sort of. I have to say I'm a little apprehensive about the kind of intermediate, semi half colossal jack size.
Yeah, not sure I'm not sure how that's going to go down. Like,
every time they kind of introduce stuff that's big and centerpiecey, they tend to take away from what makes the game good.
Yeah, like, possibly.
I absolutely blame Colossals and Colossals, Gargantuans, battle engines for losing some of the best, most kind of flavorful stuff on the table.
Yeah,
that Warmachine brought, because a lot of that stuff is great when you're arm locking Deathjack. And it's just such a negative play experience when you arm lock, Hyperion. But the result of that is, those are really cool things to be able to do in the game tactically, and all of that shit got taken away.
And that could have been an easy thing of just Colossals, you can't do it. They're just too big.
You know what?
Problem
I would have just said, I would rather just say, you know what, sod it. This is the risk you take when you play a Colossal. You have a, playing God Rayek from Abbey. That's going to be a problem. Find some shit that's going to get him free.
I think it'd be reasonable enough to just say that you don't physically have enough arm space to get around a Colossal's arm.
I hate the fact that these cool tactical abilities are taken away just by being bigger and having a rule on your card. Like, it's the same way. I used to love the fact that you could run Satixus Raiders up to engage shooters.
Yeah.
And now they either had to take a free strike or not shoot. And again, Colossals say, no, fuck you. You run up to engage, shoot. We can still shoot. Like, they took away so much of the tactical ability of models, which I really didn't like.
Yeah,
so
I can see
I'm very nervous when I see another base size coming in.
So what you need
I'm apprehensive.
So what you need to do is change the way you're looking at this, Evan, and go, and instead go, I can trigger the shadow all the time. This is just like a walking buff for the shadow.
I can take the shadow with a dreamer brick.
Yeah, it's like, sweet. It's like, bring your whatever it's going to be called. Bring your big boy base, and stick a skill emote behind it.
That's funny.
Fair enough. A bit of optimism goes a long way.
Yeah, no, it's fine, but it takes you away from tactical on the table things to more of the Magic the Gathering style. I have a counter to your counter to my counter.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
And I dislike that style. I far prefer you have options on the table, use the best option available.
Yeah.
I hate gear checks. I mean, it's why I kind of, was grousing about Baldur 2 coming back. Because it's a gear check.
I hate same with Karchev, right?
Karchev's exactly that. It's a gear check.
Yeah.
And I hate gear check type things because it doesn't matter what you've got on the table. If you can't crack that armor, you can't crack it.
You've got to shift to meet it, or hope you just don't come into contact with it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I can't imagine you not coming into contact with Karchev at a competitive
At some
event.
point, you're going to.
Yeah,
you're going to. He's too good not to.
Yeah, he's gonna be everywhere. Like, can't see him not being everywhere.
Yeah.
But with saying that, it's been a fucking great year. Like, I'm really
I think
excited
it really has.
about playing Grimkin again. I'm actually half excited about playing Convergence again, but I then realize I've got to like stick the entire army in a bucket of Dettol, and that just eliminates any positive thoughts about them. I just go, shit, no.
I am so excited about Legion, Grimkin, and Circle right now. Like, this is an amazing time for me to put my toys on the table.
Yeah,
like
and that's really good. I don't think any faction
incredible
really, or it's hard to find a faction that doesn't have something really cool right now to play with.
Yeah.
Sorry, Craig.
Yeah, even for the Menoth players, crying into their whiskey right now. Like, I still think. Resnick 2 is freaking amazing. I still think Hobby's worthwhile. I think Sarini is still terrifying.
Yeah.
And for God's sakes, play Thyra. Thyra's awesome.
Yeah, one of our locals has just started Menoth as his second faction, and I just showed him the list of Menoth stuff that I've just randomly accumulated over the years. He's like, oh, I'll take it all apart from Thyra, and I was like, what do you mean apart from Thyra? What? And it turns out he ordered it last week from a shop, so I was like, okay, right.
Okay, fine.
Like, that is a valid excuse to not want to double. But yeah.
Like, even Menoth, who arguably are at the bottom of the list, although I would contend Crix is a little lower.
Yeah.
I think there's still exciting stuff to play.
I know something I'm looking forward to Christmas just struck me. We should go back. We should do a faction order again.
Oh God. We should see how that's changed.
Might be time. So obviously we're gonna start getting people on and talking about factions, doing a bit more of a deep dive and looking at lists and casters and power lists and stuff. Also, it might be time to revisit the whole.
That would be interesting, just to do a review of kind of where it's shifted in a comparison to last year's.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Okay, that would be quite interesting.
Let's book it in. So so if you're interested in seeing your factions reviewed in a bit more detail, we're going to try to start arranging that after Christmas. I've got a bunch of technical tweaks I need to make in between now and then, where I put a decent chunk of money into like the setup here to do like the overlays and stuff, and my circumstances have changed a bit, so I can't really justify putting as much in. I'm gonna have to put some more technical time in instead to try and work it out manually. So hopefully we'll do that, and that'll work out okay, and we'll be just like two of us in white boxes. That's it. But yeah, we'll get there, and so lots of interesting things to talk about hopefully in the new year. But as I said at the start, I'm off to deepest, darkest Wales next week with my kids. So just going to go and spend Christmas with family, which will be nice. That means that we'll probably be start of January before we talk to you guys again. I'll try to get some Wartable games.
Have a great one there.
Recorded and like sort of scheduled to go up on YouTube and stuff like that as like a couple of games a week. But I'll see basically how the week goes for me now.
I'm going to try to get a whole lot of games in. I have just gone on leave today.
So nice.
2 weeks of bugger all of any use to man or beast to be.
That's good. I've not played Wartable enough in too long, so I need to crack out games. That's for sure.
I've got so much shit I need to try out. It's just,
and that's the good thing, right?
It's awful. Everything I play, every time I get to my opponent's turn, I'm so sad I'm not playing Grimkin. Like, I want to be threatening people with the Arcana every turn.
Am I going to drag you? Am I going to trick you into doing this?
Doesn't matter what faction I'm playing. If I'm not playing Grimkin, I just feel so sad. I want to mess with their worlds on their turn.
I'm enjoying messing with people's worlds. And
It's
on who did I play? So Monday, I played into Legion, played against Chrissa on Monday, which was like the full game I played.
She's a
Was it
bitch.
Chrissa?
Yeah.
Was it Chrissa?
Chrissa's with the ridiculous threat range, like 17 inches across the table.
I'm trying to remember.
Was it Chris? Oh, no.
It was Animag. I played into Animag on Monday.
Oh, no, that's not very fast. Okay.
And I basically was like, yes, this monkey's gonna have something wicked and go behind this guy. You want a free strike? He's like,
oh yeah.
And I stopped because we're playing a friendly game with one of my mates. And I'm like, so if you take the free strike and kill the monkey, I trigger Reckoning, and then I have +2/+2. If you take the free strike and miss the monkey, I trigger Fortune's Path and get +1/+1. Do you want to free strike the monkey? And he's like, fuck, no. I'm like, but I then will just eat this solo. It's like, fuck. And it was just like the most.
I love it.
It was like the epitome of Grimkin play.
See, that's exactly what Grimkin is supposed to be.
Yeah,
I love that. That's what
makes
him so cool.
Like, it's like, would you like the free strike? It could be Sacrifice you trigger. It could be Fortune's Path. Be Reckoning. Which
keeping
one?
A straight face while explaining this shit to people is great.
Yeah. There was a lot of calls of, this is bullshit there, isn't it? And I'm like, it is, but that's what the faction
It is. That's it. It. This is why I don't have a feat.
Yeah. But frequently I met with, but you got 3. I'm like, well, yeah, it's okay.
Very few games are you ever going to use all 3 Arcana.
Yeah, this is normally true, but when you've got fuckloads of infantry, it's much easier to use your Arcana, I'm finding.
Fair point.
Yeah.
If it's rate without access to a lot of stealth, Shroud is just so great.
Yeah, and again, another reason to choose Heretic, right? Because Shroud is command-based.
It's command, yep, yeah. And command 10 is a big deal, absolutely.
Yeah, and obviously then armor 16 with tough blast damage is probably alright against a lot of it.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, I think that's mostly
very cool
what we want to cover. So
yeah.
I think with that, enjoy.
That's our rambling year-in review.
Yeah, and I think enjoy our holidays. I'll enjoy mine, enjoy yours. Yeah, we'll definitely try and get some games in the next couple of days. That'd be pretty cool.
Good call.
I've got to do a bit more painting. I've got some more.
I've got to get back into painting.
Bases. I've got another one. I've got like a massive one to do, which is a follow-up to the commission I did with the
right
sea bases. I've got now to do one for a turtle, so it's like basically a huge base. But I just get to do whatever the hell I want on it with crushing.
That's who I was fiddling around with. What's the name with Death Archons? Was Beth 2 with double Death Archons?
Yeah, I can see that because she's just got the armor debuffs basically that you don't need to rely on friendly factions.
Got the armor debuffs, and she's going to make Typhon, defense 15 with freaking bullshit.
Yeah, seems okay.
Like that's solid.
We're in a golden age suddenly, aren't we? Again, it's nice.
Oh, there is so much to play with.
There's list building and experimenting. It's pretty cool.
See, I love it when you can play around with so much list building like that. That's when I'm excited about.
Yeah, I'm seeing my war room slowly fill up. Kind of cool. But there we go. So.
Right.
We're in a good world. It's been a good year, and we're looking forward to hopefully a lot of big events being back next year. A lot of new things happening, and a lot of positive things out of the dev team, and good games we had. Yeah, so we'll try and hit up each other.
It's looking rosy,
and get some games in on Wartable with you, Evan. That'd be cool. And
that'd be awesome.
And everyone else out there, enjoy your Christmas and New Year break, however you want to celebrate it, and. And smash that like. Yeah, there we go.
feed the social media gods.
Feed the Zuckerberg machine, and I will see you in the new year.
I like the fact that we're equating Zuckerberg with Great Cthulhu.
I was literally going to say he's basically a great old one, isn't he? At this point, He's fed himself enough and is there. The great elder. And with that, we bid you good night. See you later, guys. Thanks.
Ja. Cthulhu Vertagen.